How do I decide what skincare products to use on a client? Hi, my name is Kim. I'm a licensed esthetician and trained makeup artist, and I run a mobile makeup and hair team in the greater Bay Area. I am doing previews all the time, and I work obviously with bridesmaids and whoever else, moms, aunts, uncles, literally anyone on wedding day. And how do I decide how to prep a client's skin? So first and foremost, for my primary client, my bride, my to-be wed, whoever it is I am primarily working with gets a skincare consultation with me. So they fill out a questionnaire and then we hop on a Zoom call so I can ask a few more questions. And this guides me in deciding the skin prep as well as directing them in a skincare routine. Now, what about people that I meet that day who, the wedding party, family that I'm working on that day? And I have a set of products that I'll use based on these few questions. So tell me about your skin. Are you oily, dry, combo, balanced, or do you have no clue? And typically people will tell me. I do prefer to trust my clients, but I have to take this with a grain of salt because if somebody is not knowledgeable about skin, they could be on a skincare routine that actually causes oiliness, dryness, things like that. In that situation, after I ask them what they think their skin type is, I am feeling their skin, I'm looking at their skin, I'm looking at pore size, I'm feeling for texture, congestion, and all of this together will direct me in deciding what to use. So things like if I can feel a lot of texture, a lot of congestion, the skin just feels like really rough and thick, I have two products I like to use: Sonia Roselli Sex Appeal and Pixi Glow Tonic. How do I decide between the two? This is really great if there is if I can physically feel a thick layer of skin or the skin is super rough, I know I'm gonna need to put in the work and really smooth out their skin. Now, Pixi Glow Tonic is the one that I'll go for if their skin is relatively smooth. I'm not trying to get through layers. And this is probably somebody who has exfoliation in their routine, doesn't overdo the exfoliation. I also typically will ask when they last exfoliated, because if they did the day prior, and there's no real big issues, I'm not going to exfoliate again because you never want to over exfoliate. Other products I use, so I'll do micellar water just to really make sure everything is off of the skin. I will then also do a toner based on their skin type. Hyaluronic acid, especially if there's someone who is likely to get dry, but I sometimes will still use hyaluronic acid on someone who's oily, but especially combo skin, and I might just hyper focus it on certain areas. The other thing I will ask about is sweat. Do you sweat on your face? Do you think you'll sweat today? Where do you sweat? This is my new bestie. This is the One Size Secure the Sweat little bit. If you over apply this, you'll get oily. And that's just because your skin is always trying to be balanced. And if it is too dry, if there's too much oil control, then your skin's going to come in and be freak out and send all the extra oil, right? I said sometimes it's the skincare that actually causes the skin issues. So I will only apply this to areas that somebody gets oily. Now, say someone has large pores all over, they get oily, sweat all over, I might even mix a little bit into the foundation. Other things I use, moisturizer, obviously, but so often I don't actually use primer, except for my Embryolisse moisturizer is also marketed as a primer. But if you get the skin prep right, you do not need a primer unless for something very specific. So the only primer, aside from my Embryolisse, which is, I really use it as moisturizer, the only primer I use or carry in my kit is this Fenty Pro Filter. And this is really great for oily people, spot treating oily areas. So often the nose, the T-zone, for someone who doesn't get sweaty, and probably for somebody who will overproduce oil when there's too much oil control. But I ask a ton of questions to figure all this out. And the reason why this one is great is because it is not overly mattifying, because often when you put an overly mattifying, overly strong product on someone with oily skin, they will produce a lot of oil by the end of the day. So this is my go-to. Two other things is the setting spray. And there are two that are super popular right now that I have recently added to my kit and I love. And that is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush and the One Size setting sprays. They're both setting spray. This One Size is mattifying waterproof setting spray. And then we have this Charlotte Tilbury Party All Night Stay All Day. What I typically do is use this after skincare. So I do skin prep, Charlotte Tilbury, and then One Size at the very, very end. Obviously we want waterproof for wedding. Duh. Waterproof, sweat-proof, budge-proof. The reason why I do it this way is because this has a little bit more of like wetness to it. So it's also going to help with like blending products, whereas this has a very light, it's aerosol, and so it's not necessarily going to help with blending, but it's going to lock everything in and finish it up. So I love the combo of these two together.